Well, thank you to the Honourable Bruce Baird AM for that terrific introduction. Also to John Hutchison AM and his Business Events Sydney Board and Management, visitors, participants in this event today. Can I say it's a great pleasure to be with you, and if I could, I'd have loved to have been part of some of those sessions earlier today and beyond this. Sadly, I've got the small matters of cabinet meetings and so on that I've got to get to. I know at this morning's seminar you heard from global industry leaders who reinforced the important role business events play, not only in contributing to our state's economy, but also in connecting us globally and providing platforms for knowledge sharing, innovation and investment. Sydney is Australia's leading business events destination, and we intend to stay at the top. The New South Wales Government supports the business events industry in this state because we understand the benefits that it delivers to New South Wales. Of course, the tourism-related benefits, but importantly, the legacies beyond the tally of travel receipts. International convention delegates will typically spend 5 or 6 times that of international leisure tourists. Events, whether global or significant national events, introduce new business for Sydney's hotels, restaurants and retail businesses. In economic terms, business events are big business, contributing $17 billion to the Australian economy and $6 billion to the New South Wales economy. In 2010, Sydney hosted more than half of all business events in Australia. The wider economic benefits delivered through a successful business events industry, of course, stretch far beyond Sydney. Delegates to business events travel into our beautiful regions, helping drive economic development in regional New South Wales. And as leader of the Nationals in this state, I understand exactly how important that is. But as I mentioned earlier, the benefits of business events are not just restricted to tourism. The output of most value to governments, institutions and communities is known as the legacy impact, the non-tourism output from hosting international business, professional and association events in Australia. What happens when world leaders in professions, businesses and governments meet in our city, in our nation? They become our captive audience. These visitors are leaders within global communities and provide important links for our industries and professions into those communities, which often result in investment and export development, education and skills development, innovation and other benefits. As New South Wales Minister for Trade and Investment, I'm determined for us to capitalise on these opportunities. In recent years, there have been a number of cases where an increased profile of a particular area has led to investment that further developed our intellectual capital. One such case was the International Congress on Obesity in 2006, which did produce significant investment in the field. $95 million in federal funding towards the $385 million Centre for Obesity, Diabetes and Cardiovascular Disease at the University of Sydney. An investment of $275 million by that university in that facility. And a $15 million anonymous donation to that centre. Business Events Sydney is soon to release its final report of Phase 2 of its Benefits Beyond Tourism research, which has been conducted with the University of Technology, Sydney. I'm sure this research will further demonstrate the legacy and value of business events to this city and this state. Sydney was recently ranked number 10 business events donation in the world, and we hold the number 2 position in the Asia-Pacific region. These rankings prove that we can capitalise on the growth of the Asian market and the meetings and incentives industry globally. In Australia, we have to work hard. We're a long way from source markets. That means that strategy and smarts are the key to how we pursue and secure international events. So how do we keep Sydney at the top? Well, our hosts today, Business Events Sydney, do a remarkable job. But you also need world-class infrastructure, an iconic destination, cutting-edge industry knowledge, expertise and R&D, and most importantly, collaboration. Let me just touch on infrastructure first, a hot topic in this state. The new New South Wales Government's 100-day action plan starts the change that the community has called for in this state. We've already begun to deliver on our 5-point action plan to rebuild the economy, return quality services, renovate infrastructure, restore accountability and protect our local environment and communities. And as part of this, we're preparing to call for expressions of interest to deliver a world-class exhibition and convention centre here in Sydney at Darling Harbour. We know that convention and exhibition space is a key driver of our state's economic activity. But the age and design of the existing facilities means that we are losing ground to competitors, whether interstate or in the Asia-Pacific region. But it's not all bad news. Sydney's Convention Centre continues to be recognised for its success and was recently awarded 4 2010 Meeting and Events Association National Awards. This is a great accolade to this centre and its hard-working staff. But we can't rest on our laurels. The fact is that developments both in Australia and globally are providing a multitude of venue alternatives. The new government in this state is not willing to lose business to competitors because of infrastructure that can be improved. The Sydney Multifunction Convention Exhibition Centre we've committed to building will be a cutting-edge facility that will have plenary, exhibition and entertainment hall space. This will ensure that Sydney remains the premier city for international meetings and gatherings in the Asia-Pacific region. Combined, the new Convention and Exhibition Centre and the Sydney Showground facilities at Sydney Olympic Park will give Sydney more convention and exhibition space than any other city in Australia. And this is all part of our plan to make New South Wales #1 again. Redevelopment of the Sydney Entertainment Centre site will also allow the creation of development sites along Harbour Street, including opportunity for hotel developments to be integrated with the centre. Construction is expected to be completed by 2015. Development of the centre will complement other initiatives already underway to further improve Darling Harbour and its connection with the adjoining Sydney CBD and foreshore areas, including the Ultimo pedestrian network, linking the UTS with its new Gehry-designed business school, Ultimo TAFE, ABC headquarters and the Powerhouse Museum with Darling Harbour, and on to the Barangaroo development, the Darling Quarter development due for completion in 2011, and the improved connection of the Chinese Garden with Chinatown. The new Sydney, combined with our existing icons, the world's largest natural harbour, the World Heritage listed Sydney Opera House, Bondi Beach, the Harbour Bridge and much, much more, is going to be pretty hard to beat in terms of destination appeal. However, we know that good looks are not enough alone. We live in a state and a country with highly respected international thinkers, innovators, thought leaders, healers, researchers, discoverers and creators. In fact, the Australian population is amongst the most educated in the entire world. Business events provide an opportunity for us to showcase our local talent and build our global reputations. And we have quite a reputation upon which to build. Australians have won 11 Nobel Prizes, most of them in medicine and science, making us one of the leading Nobel Prize-winning countries in per capita terms. We have one of the world's highest rates of patent applications for innovations in renewable energy and biotechnology. Australians invented the modern standard for Wi-Fi. The cervical cancer vaccine was developed by an Australian, the brilliant Professor Ian Fraser. Australians invented or developed Google Maps, the black box flight recorder, the bionic ear, spray-on skin, penicillin as a medical antibiotic, dual flush toilets, race cam TV, sports coverage. Business events, of course, help us to raise awareness of our intellectual capital and to profile sector-specific issues, in turn, often securing valuable investment. Our destination appeal is multifaceted. Beauty, brains, soul, culture, diversity, creativity, groundbreaking science and research, and a global reputation for excellence. And it's up to Business Events Sydney, Australia's leading convention and visitor bureau, to sell that message to the world. Business Events Sydney has been promoting Sydney, identifying business event opportunities and winning business for this city for more than 40 years. Their results speak volumes. Working on more than 100 bids each year, the company has a success rate of around 70%. 69 events won by Business Events Sydney will take place in Sydney over the next 18 months. They will deliver more than 65,000 delegates, more than 272,000 room nights, and more than $255 million in economic benefit for New South Wales. Upcoming events include V-Forum 2011 with 4,000 people, the Worldwide Chinese Life Congress 2012 with 4,200 people, the Scientific Meeting of the International Society of Hypertension 2012 with 3,000 visitors to that event. Events won by Business Events Sydney just this financial year will generate more than $200 million in economic benefit for this state. And that is just the tourist receipt tally. The legacy, as I mentioned earlier, is far, far greater. In closing, I'd like to thank Business Events Sydney, the Sydney Convention and Exhibition Centre, and all of the partners who have made this event possible.